Hello, this is week 7 of the 13-week fiscal program for American Descendants of Slavery. My name is Chief Biko. Today we have Chief Alligator and Chief Blackcoat. And here we focus more so on the first letter of the acronym ADOS, which is American. And this week we will pretty much piggyback off of where we left off last week with the Seminole War treaties. This week we will be getting into the secessions of the 13, of the certain states to secede from the United States government. But prior to that, we want to make sure that we're reemphasizing that we had those capitals, we had that Confederacy prior to the now known Confederacy of the European. So before that, I will go ahead and share my screen and showing the map of the American Removal Act. Share this real quick. All right, boom. All right. So again, before we jump into the secessions, we must first realize and acknowledge that we had our own Confederacy, the Creek Confederacy, the Muskogee Confederacy, one and the same. And what we had was pretty much all of these states, which will be later seceding from the United States government to create, or pretty much just to take over our Confederacy. So again, you'll see these states, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. A lot of these same states are going to be the ones that actually secede from the United States government. And what we're going to do here is just, again, just showing the removal of our people to this Indian territory. So you can see they're coming up this Mississippi River, which will play a large aspect into what we'll be showing later on in regards to the population, our people being, accounted for, do the census, things of that nature. So again, all of this was ours. We had our own capitals, own government structures in each of these territories, in each of these areas. So once we left, they had other occupants come in and take over. It's almost like an apartment or an abandoned building. Nobody's there. We got people coming in, squatters law, things of that type of nature. So I just want to make sure that we're reemphasizing that this was ours. We had our own nation, our own government structure. And what we're going to pretty much be depicting now is the European coming in, taking over pretty much everything that we already established, as well as our name, even down to the flag. So now what I'm going to show you is, before we get to that map, I definitely want to share this one. And I want to pretty much bring up like a side-by-side comparison just to make sure that this is reiterated here. So on this map, before we get into anything, again, military occupation. For prisoners of war people. I think we pretty much nailed in the coffin on that last week, but just to further drill down the point, so for the benefit of the sick and wounded soldiers of the U.S. Army. Again, southern states of the United States. And as we go down here, we'll even see when this was actually, this census was actually taken, 1860. We know Civil War started 1861. And what we're pretty much going to be depicting here is the population of our ancestors. Right now, they have them as classified as slaves here, prisoners of war. And some of these actual states, we definitely, outnumbered them. South Carolina, for example, Mississippi, wasn't too far behind, in Louisiana and Alabama as well.
Hold on, Chief Biko. You breaking up a little bit, or maybe it's just me. You got them good, Chief Alligator?
Yeah, I got them good.
It's me.
Okay. How I sound now?
You clear on
that?
Okay.
It's a little choppy. I don't know if it's my connection or yours, so I'm just sit back and listen.
Got you. But pretty much again, just re-emphasizing the population. They was able to count heads. And I'll let Chief Blackcoat kind of speak to that and give his military expertise in regards to that accounting for people.
Okay, yeah, so I just want to take a look at this map right here, census of 1860. One thing that jumps out at me a lot, free population. Today, a lot of our people today You know, everybody think we came from slavery. Everybody think we were slaves, swing low, swing cherry on, whatever. You can see here, South Carolina, 301,000 free. Now, how were they able to count freemen and account for it? We're gonna figure that out. But you can see it here. I'm gonna just go to the hometown, Georgia, 595,000, almost 600,000 freemen, slave population, 462,000. Yeah, this is a head count, and they this is a military, so you can see them moving state to state and literally counting each head, how many heads they had. And again, we're gonna figure out this free population from the slave population, but the military pretty much roped it off and pulling people outside their homes. How many are in there? How many are on that back? How many are in that what do we call it when they would have the little downstairs type of, you know, I'm pretty sure it had little hideout spots. So you had this military pretty much coming in, getting accurate counts. Now, how could you get an accurate count? Again, you're military. You got guns up, people on horses. It's unreal, but we're looking at it. They were able to count each personnel, and how were they able to do that? This is the United States military. Back to how Chief Biko explained it. Military occupation. You know, we got to swallow that hard pill right there. The military occupation. You're the American man and woman, for the European to live his best life, is being military occupied. And you can see it right here. They counted it. They accounted for everything. And it's amazing to see just how they went into this conquest, because it was always going to be a number game with them, and it was going to always be documented on how they actually did it. It's amazing to see though, but yeah, that's my piece.
Let's break this number out. If you can go back to that chart, Chief Vico, where it said about the slave population.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Let's scroll it. Yeah, let's make that a little bigger. All right. So now let's itemize. We're looking at a balance sheet right now. So you got your free population versus your slave population. All right, let's use logic, common sense, and American history. The only people that the military could account for 100% were the slaves that were coming from Europe, because they're going to be on the manifest sheet. Let's keep it. Let's look at operation.
Right.
So the people, the peasants, the inmates, the homeless, the European trash that they were sending from Europe, that's where they start their accurate head count, because they know how many Europeans were on them boats and how many arrived in Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, New York City, through Ellis Island. You follow me? That's a percentage of what we're looking at as slave population. They came over here as indentured servants, so you got to keep that in mind.
Right.
Now, what about those of our ancestors that lost a battle, let's say in a town like Macon, for example, right? Okay, let's just say you got completely annihilated by the Confederate military. Okay, so that whole town of Macon would now be under military occupation. Right. Those people could be counted as slave population now. Why? You're on a military work camp. And so this goes back to tracing this is the benefit of ancestry.com. If you just follow census records of your family member, you're going to see, if it's in the state of Georgia, I can only speak for the state of Georgia. If your bloodline go back to the state of Georgia, it's going to say the militia district. The only way they could count heads was the military. The only way you can go into different territories, different tribes, different nations of people, and actually go door to door and see how many people were in a household and what that household did was by force.
Right.
So we're looking at 100-year period from 1789, when they ratified their government and their constitution, up until 1860. It took almost 100 years of wars in order to start roping off land and tagging people. Y'all with me?
Yeah. You're saying this is a mix of indentured servants from over Europe, peasants, and the ones they account for that were losing wars within the towns.
Right, because they
Slave demand,
already
okay.
went in the treaty. They already went in the treaty with certain nations and sent them to Oklahoma. So by this time, they know that if you're copper colored skin and you're still in these areas, they're not going to label you Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Seminole. No, they're going to label you something other than that because your stubborn ass, your nigga ass didn't go west of the Mississippi. So now you get lumped in with the peasants. Stay with me now.
Yeah,
correct.
Huh?
Reclassification.
Right. So we got classified with the peasants coming from Europe. And that's the one thing that nobody ever accounts for. Nobody accounts that every European that's in America came on a ship in the 17 and 18 and early. Nobody never accounts for that.
As if it's, you know, taboo or something.
Right. So if they outnumber us, then that means that they were on the middle passage is them.
Yeah.
Correct.
It only makes sense.
That's the only way you got it.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get the percentage? The way you get a percentage, and I'm sure everybody knows this, but just to reiterate, the way you get a percentage is you got to divide the smaller number into the largest number, right? So if you take your free population, let's say South Carolina, take your free population and divide it into your slave population. I'm sorry, if you add your free population and your slave population, you get that number, okay? So it says percentage of slaves in that far right. So if you take your slave population and divide it into the total number of people, that's how you get your 57.2%.
Right.
So what they were doing is they were looking at human beings as percentages. What percent of slave, what percentage of prisoners of war do we have in this area? And when you look at it that way, you can see how they've already kind of got lined out what state is going to generate more income than other states. So South Carolina probably made a lot of income for the Confederate military. Why? They got 57% prisoners of war.
Correct.
Mississippi got a lot of income. You got 55% of the people prisoner of war. Y'all with me?
Yeah. Now that makes a great point.
Delaware, Missouri, Maryland, you know, they weren't really getting a lot of income out of those areas because you don't have the manpower.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to throw that in. Y'all go ahead and build on that. I just wanted to throw it that we're looking at an accounting balance sheet. The way they looked at it was, we know we can account for every European that's getting off the boat in America. Because think about it, the queen or king, whatever ruler from Europe, they're going to account for what they put on that ship. Guess why? You on a 7-year contract.
Yeah.
You on a 7-year contract. I get that money out.
And I'm glad you dropped that bomb because I disconnected there, thinking they accounted for only us. No. Where the real slaves at? Where the real peasants coming from? Merge that number. So that they're kind of just grouping them in. So now we're seeing the internal conflict of the European and the native. Now we see, it's gonna be bad blood from the start. We got this is my shit now. Whoa, no, it's not.
And this is the repercussion of not going west of the Mississippi. Keep that in mind. This is the downside of not. Yeah. See, now we're getting lumped in, and we're getting denationalized.
Now I was gonna say something to that. Yep.
Now we're getting counted as slave population. If you can scroll in the bottom right corner on this map, it shows you the percentage based on color. The scale of shades. Okay.
Scale of shade. Ooh. Wow. They got real critical with it.
So when you real black, if it's a real black area, that's 80% or better. That's military occupied, military workforce labor, right? Let's look at Florida, for example.
Wow.
It was really unconquered. You ain't really got no dark counties. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't have a lot of labor coming out of that area. Y'all with me?
Correct.
Leon County was the most military occupied in Florida.
Yep.
Right there. Yep. 73.9%.
Let's look at Georgia.
And that's a great point too, just to kind of segue that into this. If we go and take a look at our American Removal Act, we know this is the territory that they had pretty much entrapped the Seminoles in, or said that this was their land now, even though everything was. And then we can see that they wasn't even stepping up in there. We saw that through the wars and things of that nature, but you can see Leon, which isn't even, that's closer to that border of Georgia than it would Central Florida area. That's where they was occupying. That's where they had, roped off a lot of, a lot of our ancestors. As far as Central Florida, nah, they wasn't coming up through there. It wasn't coming.
Let's take a look at. Okay, never mind. I thought that was Lafayette. Well, we took a visit too one time, but that was Taylor. Taylor, hadn't had any military occupation yet, but Lafayette, right there on that coast.
Go to Southeast. Go to Southeast Georgia, Chief Biko. You just showed something. Okay.
Hello?
Now you see how this mirrors what's going on right now. Glenn County is where that Ahmaud Arbery case is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can see back in 1860, it was 73% already occupied.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
Look at Chatham County, the first capital of Georgia. So you can see that's where they got their largest numbers, right there on the port, right there where they're going to be imported and exporting European peasants as well as goods. See that?
Yep.
Chatham 50%, Liberty 72. So you can see
where Chatham at. That's where my folks at.
Right there on the coast.
Right there. Yep. That's where we from.
So you can notice all of that port area in Glenn County, Liberty, McIntosh, Camden. You can see they had that heavily roped off because that's where the import exports coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to make sure that they had strict control over that area.
Correct.
And you said import export for the people that probably don't know what that means, Chief Alligator. Coming in and going out.
Coming in and going out. So if you got European peasants coming from Europe,
taking over those coastal.
Right. They need to make sure that that area is secure so they can unload them, count the heads, see how many died, whatever. As well as when they're taking over our trade routes, they may be coming out of Savannah and maybe going down to St. Augustine, Florida. They may be going down to the Caribbean, doing trade with the Jamaicans and the Haiti.
That's a great point too.
Yeah.
Like they're taking over our trading ports because again, we know just when coming into civilization, you're gonna be next to water, especially if you're trying to trade with other people. You're gonna be next to a water source, definitely a fresh water source because you need drinking water. But so they pretty much, that's why you see that the population is so high because we already understood that. We already had this as far as nations. So they came and roped us off and then took over our stuff.
It's just business as usual because Europe is doing the same thing. They got ports, So as soon as they get over here, they're like, where are the waterways? Where is that transportation for them to move things? And they figured it out, roped it off.
And so if you kind of make it a little bigger so people can see the so we can get an idea.
Would you want to zoom in Georgia still, or?
Yeah, Georgia's fine, but we just so Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, that's where most of your battles happen in the Civil War. There's no battles really in Florida. You see what I'm saying? They didn't come that far south.
Correct.
Right before the Confederacy tapped out, but you can see based on the darker colored areas, that's going to be your more populated. Those people are heavily military occupied. Those dark shaded counties, those are people that are what we would call slavery, which the legal definition of slavery is when a group of people have entire control over you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this rhymes with your ancestors' oldest census record. You got to think, how can Europeans go through foreign land and account for everybody in a household? It had to be by the gun.
Yeah, for sure.
Military, by force. By force.
In the basement of what I was thinking, because I'm pretty sure people thought they were going to hide it. Well, just hide it out. No, not with these guys in our face, over there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you wanted to build, Chief Biko, on that Mississippi River where that goes right in line with the American Remove Act. You can see how look how heavily concentrated Look how military occupied people are at the beginning of the Civil War, right there on the Mississippi River. Look at all them dark counties.
If we just take this line here and just kind of like transpose it onto this map, you'll understand why it's so heavily accounted for. We were being military escorted to this area.
Moving Americans from the east to west.
Indian territory. You can see all the way up through here. It's dark, 81%, 74, 81. Shit, I think one gets as high as 92. We got 90, 92 here at Issaquena. And again, this is pretty much the route we were going on during the Trail of Tears. The route
Issaquena probably still here today. So it's not foreign to anybody that's looking at these videos. We're talking about us. We're talking about you.
Yep. Even if you look at this area, what this is all this.
Right.
When you see dark territories or quote unquote American lands at the time, these are American lands. Right. Look, they're accounted for. Mississippi, all this. That's Alabama, Mississippi. It's all accounted for. This is where they was taking us from.
Right.
And through what? The military.
Look at on your map right here where it says Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Seminole, Choctaw. What we have to understand is right in this moment in American history, we are about to be denationalized because we did not go the Indian Territory. So our ancestors still knew who they were. They knew they were Cherokee. They knew they were Creek. They knew they were Chickasaw. Everybody east of the Mississippi still knew who they were, but this is the beginning of denationalization.
Correct.
Because this Civil War, what they call a Civil War, was actually a battle royal. Because you got the United States government in the northeast of North America going up against the Confederate in the southeast, which was the Creek Confederacy. And then you got the sellouts of our bloodline in Oklahoma, mainly the Creek, because they contracted with the United States government. They're fighting on behalf of the Union or the US government. And you got those of us that did not run west. We're fighting all of them.
We're fighting all of them. That's the one that usually gets masked over, that last one. The one that didn't move west of the Mississippi. We fighting all three of them because at this point, like you said, they're contracting, they're fighting with the Union. Our ancestors who actually went west of the Mississippi. So we're not only fighting against the Union, we're fighting against our brothers, our siblings, as well as these white European peasants.
Right.
That taken over our capitals in the Confederacy.
Plus you got the prisoners of war that are occupied by the United States government, because we're going to get into that, how Lincoln emancipates them, and Lincoln is like, we finna release y'all from the military work camps and let y'all fight too. So you fighting your family from Oklahoma, you got cats coming from the north with blue on, so you can look at us and be like, well, who the hell are they coming? So now we fighting them, and then we don't care what uniform the European got, he getting killed on sight. But then we got some of our ancestors still wearing their Native American stuff in Oklahoma. We fighting them like it's a battle royal going on.
Yeah, a whole lot of confusion, and that's why you can see a whole lot of bloodshed. A whole lot of bloodshed. But yeah, people, this is ours. This was ours. This is ours, and this just again depicts that military occupation, being prisoners of war on our own land.
And whoever viewing this, if you feel like, oh, it keeps saying prisoner of war, understand, we need to drive that home. You guys don't understand. We got a trial case going on up north with Kyle Rittenhouse. Literally, a European sitting on trial. They want to bring out the National Guard to pretty much what? Make sure he's protected. Why would we need the National Guard for what? When does the National Guard come out for your protection? So that's why we keep reiterating that, so our viewers understand. Look, man, this ain't no fucking game. Excuse my language.
Great bill.
So all that partying, Go ahead, my bad, you got good.
No, it's not making us look like we're right. We're just going through American history and current day politics. It's rhyming with what happened. If you know about 1755 Militia Act, we've already went over that last week to remind you. Kyle Rittenhouse was a part of the militia.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump was going at it with the governor of Wisconsin last year, constantly telling him, if you don't get it under control, I will. Who has control of the militia? Donald Trump. So Donald Trump made that call. All of a sudden, here comes Kyle Rittenhouse and the guys out in Wisconsin. What did Donald Trump call him? Donald Trump called that man a hero. Why? Because the only way Kyle Rittenhouse could get there and do what he did, the phone call had to be made by the president.
Had to be. Had that type of
That's in the
confidence to walk out there with an AR. You underage, you got the AR. Yeah, you had to get a call from somebody to point and have your balls hanging that low.
Correct.
And that's procedure. We're not guessing. What article was that, Chief Biko, in the Constitution, that the president has control over the militia? We're not guessing.
Correct.
So all the theater that people are talking about, the crooked judge trying to play defense attorney, all that's theater. At the end of the day, Kyle Rittenhouse is a part of the militia.
Protected by his.
And this bird isn't going to eat off its own wing. This bird is not going to eat off a wing. It's not going to do that. So everything you see that judge doing is to protect that defense wing of that bird, that militia.
Right.
Yeah. The Second Amendment applies to him. Notice they're not even talking about the fact that he was underage with a rifle. Why? That goes back to the Militia Act. The Second Amendment applies to them. The militia has the right to bear arms. Don't say nothing about age, do it.
Correct. Nope.
The militia has the right to bear arms.
The militia got the right to bear arms, so it don't matter.
He's underage, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he has the right to bear arms.
Yeah, right to bear arms.
Could have been a fucking 6-year-old. It doesn't matter.
That's why they raised the money for him.
Yep.
With the quickness.
Great point. Great point. Let me see here. And prior to us jumping into the readings, I did want to show this one map here as well. This is just to show that, there was two separate nations, y'all.
Right.
They had their own banking system, own currency. Two separate nations. So when they split, they had their own money.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
And I like what Chief Alligator said earlier. They didn't really, switch it up too much. They just kind of took on what we already had and then put their faces, put their names on it.
Correct.
Put their stamp on it. Yeah, we'll use the same traditional way you guys got, but we'll just put our face on top of it.
And we have to understand something like what you're looking at you're looking at the obelisk right here. Okay, so now you're looking at Masonic buildings, right? What we have to understand as Americans is this was our government buildings. Let me say that again so we can really understand what Chief Biko is showing you. That's what we lost when the military finally captured that state or that capital city. Those buildings were already there.
Mm-hmm.
All they did was come in and just create their own currency and put their warlords' face on it. So when you see these are their warlords. Mm-hmm. We had our own money. We had our own currency. Mm-hmm. But they're going to honor the people who actually came in and defeated our ancestors and took over the capitals.
Put them on the current.
So we gotta remember that. We gotta remember this. Everything was already click-clacking over here. We had the trade routes. We were already driving cars and having appliances and dealing with electricity. That's why we read an Inventor every week. We're giving you the reality. This idea that we were just picking cotton, and no, you got cats picking cotton right now that's in slavery or in prison. Yeah, so let's not act like it's more people in slavery now than it was back then. It's more people in prison now than back then. Mm-hmm. That's what I would take from this picture. When you're looking at it, even if you look at that flag right there, Chief Biko, we got to understand that was our form of government. When you hear the word Confederacy, stop thinking redneck. Think about your ancestors. That's an American form of government. Y'all want to build on that? Like, we really have to get people to understand Confederacy is yours.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, it's just amazing to me how today a lot of people don't connect these dots. You know, we had our own form of currency. Today we're using fiat currency with warlords in the front, and no one ever asked themselves or sat down and said, "Man, why is there no American on these dollar bills? Why aren't there any, you know, anybody that look like me on these dollar bills?" You know, yeah, they took your shit, just took your shit and decided to put their warlords on top of that. We gotta start opening our minds to these things. Like, how are we playing this monopoly game with their currency and not saying, "Hey, why?" I remember a couple, I guess in the Obama administration, they wanted to put Harry Tubman on one of them. But it's like, why does it have to go through all this just to get somebody black on a dollar bill? Like, what is this? And now we're breaking it down for it. We're showing you what it is. They're not about to disrespect their forefathers. You know, no, that's their current. That's just their thing. Yeah, we're gonna use our money with our forefathers on it. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Major general. They're gonna celebrate their warlords. They're people that actually made it safe for them to occupy our land. So when we saw last year how when it was called to have a lot of these statues and stuff removed, people was in a damn fit. How can you do that to the people that made it safe for us to occupy this land?
Right.
That's the mindset of the European.
Right.
How can you take off our forefather who made it all right for us to occupy and live on this land that gave us freedom? This is right here, people. Look who's on these paper currency.
Let's dissect that real quick while you're looking at this one, Chief Biko. Scroll back in on that $100 okay. It says will pay to the, and then if you go over to the right, will pay to the bearer on demand. Now let's go to the top of that note. Let's go. It's not a note, actually. This is a bill. Let's go to, do you see anything about Federal Reserve note?
Nope.
So this is before the Federal Reserve. Y'all with me? So the Federal Reserve is not even in the Constitution. It's illegal. So the fact that we're in 2021 and your currency says Federal Reserve note over the top, that's not even a constitutional entity. That should be, only Congress creates the money, which is gold and silver. All right. So, but we can clearly see how once they conquered our ancestors' capitals in the Creek Confederacy or the Southeast region of North America, we can see that this was money, because when you took this to a bank, it says you will pay 100 to the bearer on demand. So if you took that Confederate $100 bill to a bank, the bank is going to give you in return 100 ounces of silver or 100 ounces of gold. You follow me?
Man, you
See,
can't even do that.
Gold, they took the gold out of the system. So now you're just trading paper.
Correct.
That's why the boycott. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, keep building, G. I feel like you was about to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's why the boycott is so important, because there is no money. So why are we continuing to be oppressed and there is no money? Like at this point, it's like we're crazy.
Yeah.
Like this shit is ready to fall. It's literally ready to fall. It only go like at this point, you have to believe and have faith that there is money, and then you have to believe and have faith that your oppression is normal for this shit to keep going.
You have to believe that your oppression is normal.
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I don't want to build too much on that because it's irrelevant, but yeah, people have sunk into that hole. It's normal. What do you do? And it's like, this is easy.
If we just stop supporting it, man. And again, everybody didn't do it in the Civil Rights Act. Shout out to the people in Selma, Alabama.
Right.
Because they're always overlooked in our civil rights story. They always talk about Martin Luther King, but the truth is, the people in Selma, Alabama walked for over a year and did not catch the bus. That's the only reason. That's one of the main reasons that you got your civil rights today. So the idea that all of us have to do it, that's not what happened 60 years ago. It's just going to take a city. One particular city can reap the benefits for all of us if we just shut it down.
And that's what we're going to get into when we see these the secession. Like That's one thing we can always learn from anybody, regardless if they're an enemy or anything. We can learn from from these examples. So we can learn from our ancestors who walked for a whole year to get some change. We can learn from, we're going to see these secession states and how they did it. Who were the we the people? It wasn't a lot of them. It was a small group of individuals who was like, you know what, we done with this. We're gonna all, make sure this is ratified. It doesn't take a majority or even half the majority. It just takes a amount of people who are disciplined and know what they want to do. And that's it.
That's it. I mean, I know why it's so hard because you have so many different whatever is to, and I guess we're enjoying it, but it's not hard. Like he said, shout out to the people in Selma that said, yeah, fuck this. We're not riding the bus.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to do it. We're not sitting on the back. No, that's out the window. They were on code. They decided to make a goal and reach it. That's all we got to do as prisoners of war. Make a goal. Create a goal. What's the goal, y'all? What's our goal? We got these Democrats always in front of our faces trying to tell us this, that, and that. Ain't no goal. So we just vote for them to vote. What's the goal? To have a goal, y'all.
That's reparations. The goal is reparate. The goal is to get everything back that you created.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. And we do an event every week, so you guys should know what we're talking about. we throwing them at you. So it's like, as we continue to build on this channel, eventually this is the build up for the boycott. Let's sit down, y'all. Let's not keep supporting this system with this fiat currency playing a monopoly game. We gotta let it go because it's eating us alive. It's eating us alive, and it's making us look crazy to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
we have to start making ourselves looking crazy. Yesterday, something hit me. When we take vacations and we go to other people's countries, we're all in awe. But we notice, who land is this? We can clearly see, oh, he live here. She lives here. When you come here, who live here? Who does this belong to? You don't know, and we have to get back to that. This ain't fucking Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
This is our land, and and I see the big conversation today is Americans ain't got no culture. Black people ain't got no culture. Come on, man, stop playing with us. Don't try. It's just internet talk, but come on, the whole world revolves around us. We're not gonna play that game. You got people getting butt injections. Why are you getting butt injections? Just that little simple thing. Why are you getting butt injections? Oh, the black people got big booties. Hey, that's culture. Don't play with us. You shaking that ass in the club because of us. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track, but that's just what's in the media today, talking about how we don't have culture. We have all the culture. If we just sit our ass down, we'll know about it.
We said everything. We said all the trends. We said
you'll see the whole world crumble because the Black American sat down. And now it's like, what are we gonna do? But we're getting off a little topic. We're gonna go back to this prisoner of war, this military occupation. We're gonna get back to that hard shit. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Don't disrespect our culture because we are culture. Period. We are culture. You can't see the culture because it is us. Anything we do, say, or anything we put it on, people gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's us, the American. But I digress right now. We're gonna jump back into this military occupation because that's the first thing we need to understand. Baby steps.
We have 45 now, so we built basically off these maps today.
Oh, yeah, what?
Yeah, we had 45 after.
Oh, man, we was building up for real, man. I didn't feel like 45 at all.
If we just look at this like a bicycle, if we can all just go back to our childhood and just look at what we're going through as somebody took your bike, and you go home and you gotta tell your mom and your dad, or they ask you to where your bike at, and you pouting or whatever, and you like, and now your pop put you in the car and take you over there, right? Now, does your pop tell you to get out the car and negotiate for your bike? Or does he tell you to go out there and be prepared to fight to get your bike back? And so that's where we are right now as a group of people. Why are you trying to negotiate reparations? It's your shit. You can't what you gonna do? Say, hey, you know what? I know you took my bike, but can I get it on Mondays? You know what I'm saying? Like, can I get my bike on Mondays and maybe on Fridays?
Don't work like that.
And just
You get
the
your
thought
bike back.
shows how indoctrinated, how fucking how mentally we are into this system. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to go through their processes to get our shit instead of just getting our shit back. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta, oh yeah, if we're gonna do that, guys, we gotta make sure we get majority vote. We gotta vote this senator. No, you don't. And the example of that was even the idea of giving illegal immigrants 450,000. They ain't even a part of this U.S.
Talk about
system yet. They're trying to pay them out, or the idea of paying them out. That in itself should show you, okay, one, we on a military occupation. One, this shit is a whole fluke, because how the fuck can you give somebody that isn't even a citizen payments for us, as far as our people payments? And three, get our shit back. Plain and simple. We see that they've been that in the trial with Kyle Rittenhouse. We see how they bend the rules to make sure that they're going to win. So why even play the game?
I want to just touch on the map or the photo we have up right now from the Library of Congress and how important the South truly is. All of that's the South. Passing Confederate, that was us. So shout out to every other part of the land, but anybody from Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, what we talking about. This the beginning of it. Your ancestors did everything they could to make sure they stood 10 toes down. So when you walk around, if you're walking around with your head low, if you was born in Georgia and you got grandparents in them backwoods, you go home to the country, know your grandparents stood up for you. Know your grandma, granddaddy, auntie, whoever from your ancestry, they stood up for you. And they made sure, we don't play that. They might try to make it seem like, they just came in and was killing us. And we was killing them. And we probably already said this before, but again, it's right in our face. Again, that little hub right there, your ancestors stood 10 toes down. Now, I'm not saying anything else about outside of the South, but I'm just saying, your ancestors, if you from these states, have a little pride. Have a lot of pride. Because your ancestors made sure, we ain't going nowhere, nigga. We've been here. Excuse my French or however you want to interpret it. But yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, that's the truth. It was through murder that the European had to go back to his constitution and say, okay, we'll add you guys. Now we're gonna get into it, but we got denationalized. We thought we did our ancestors kudos. They got straightened and they're like, no, if we're being denationalized from Cherokee, Seminole, Creek, Choctaw, you're gonna put us up under whatever the hell you got going on. Because we didn't know nothing about our ancestors didn't know nothing about the United States government because it hadn't worked its way south yet. Y'all with me? Remember, this is a rogue military doing its own thing. So now, so our ancestors, through killing them, they were like, you know what? Let's do the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment because we're not going to be able to do them like we do the Europeans that were shipping over here from Europe. They were already peasants. They were already indoctrinated to be Slavs.
Foot on the neck and got our 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment for the rest.
We have to understand, right? We were not a part of the United States government till after the Civil War. Why? Because you were Cherokee. See, you went into the Civil War as a Cherokee. You came out as a U.S. citizen. Are you with me?
Winning as a Cherokee came out a Negro. I said winning as a Cherokee came out a Negro or whatever reclassification.
That was the trick. We should have never went up under it.
Should have never contracted.
Should have never went up under. But what were we to do? They moved all the nations in Oklahoma. So we were kind of just left unorganized. They done took our capitals. They done took our trading route. So it's like, damn, what these people? And it's like, okay, well, after fighting and getting some straight, and it's like, okay, well, what we gonna do? Well, you're gonna have to include us as a citizen. And that's been the game since the Civil War is their pin game. You can't let a foreigner create a government and then try to bring the indigenous people under it because it's never right. That's why we're lumped in. I'm gonna say this real slow. That's why we're lumped under this minority term. It's an accounting term. So if you had a piece of paper and wrote expenses on the top, and then you put Negro, then you put European woman, then you put gays, then you put handicap, then you put immigrants, then you put illegal immigrants. All of those expenses are under the minority category. So again, we never get itemized anything. It's an accounting term. We don't realize that yet. People of color, it's an accounting term. That's a way they can bring people from Africa, India, Jamaica, and you're like, y'all people of color. No, fuck all that. I'm American. Itemize me out of this.
Yeah.
And continue to
like what you said there. Now you're unclearing that fog. People of an accounting game.
It's an accounting game.
Because people are right. Okay.
And that's all it is. And so when you hear these politicians say people of color, minority, right? Okay, you think they're talking to you. No, they're talking to 6 classes of people.
Correct. And you at the bottom.
You at the bottom.
You ain't gonna get nothing.
On this channel.
Right.
And what you've watched under Biden is you've watched the government say, okay, we're going to itemize you, immigrants. Okay, we're going to give itemized specific resources to you, European woman, Me Too movement. We're going to itemize specific expenses for the gay, European male and women. We're going to itemize for the handicap. We're going to itemize for the illegal. The only group that has not got nothing yet is the Negro. You still waiting on something. Well, no, you did get something. It wasn't tangible, but you got a slave holiday.
I wanted to say something about
and that ain't even specific because everybody benefits off of it.
Right. Everybody get to party on that day. Ain't like it. No, you get to go to work, but it don't even matter. And actually, it's like whatever.
They think we're dumb. Now they got an infrastructure bill. Here we go again. Everybody benefits. You still ain't got nothing. But, hey, Negroes, we need you to participate in the infrastructure bill. Damn, but what happened to reparations? No, you need a voting rights act. That's what you need. You need a poor people's campaign. Like you niggas throwing shit at the wall.
That's what they gonna buy. Exactly.
I'm like, damn, I just voted. Well, not specifically me, but I'm like, damn, we just voted. What are we talking about? We just put Biden in office. Now I gotta go back and read the words again and try to make sure I can continue to vote. What are we doing here?
Right, you don't have enough. See, you have the House now, but see now you need they always move the ball for you, but everybody voted for the Asians to get broke off after the mass shooting. Niggas didn't catch that. Let me clean my language up.
No,
Negroes didn't catch that. Everybody in Congress voted for the Asian and Pacific Islander protection, but for you to get a George Floyd Act, oh no, see, you gotta have, they got the filibuster, and it's like you just sit there and look at these people and be like, you think I'm stupid?
They playing with you. They playing with you.
And it all goes back to we are military occupying your shit. I can't give you nothing.
Exactly.
You have protection because for me to protect you is like I'm saying sorry or. That's a little bit of reparation in itself. And it can't happen. Why? Because they're trying to put their stamp on this land and say the American needs to go forever.
Correct.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get rid of us. And we have to wake up to that fact. You can get killed every day and nothing comes out of it. How much longer can you go? Before it reaches you. And then it reaches all of you. And then there's no more Black American.
Come on with it, Chief Biko. What you got for us?
Nah, that was it. Shoot, that was it, y'all. Shoot. Put the nail in the coffin on that one.
Yeah.
Gotta stop playing the game. Gotta stop playing the game.
We gotta stop playing the game, man. Like we gotta just start being ourselves. I love when Jay would always say, just be Black and be Black. What are you doing? Thanksgiving? What are you talking about? What ancestors made? What are you talking about? Christmas is upsetting because as a child, our parents literally gave all that work to a white man. Santa came. What are you talking about? Let's let that shit to go. Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day. What are we
doing? Participating in this shit that gives you nothing.
Participating in something that hates you.
Woo, y'all want to do the readings?
Yeah,
Shit,
let's
let's go
jump
ahead
into
and
that.
start these readings, man. Start sharing the screen real quick.
So we'll do the secessions next week. We built off the maps tonight. That was y'all think that was a good build?
For sure.
Nah, I like it. Definitely. It's needed.
We still off. Yep. All right, let's make sure. So what we doing? 12 steps. Let's get it. Pull that up for y'all real quick. I still got all my maps up. I ain't never took them out. Let me get into my Gmail.
I got you. I'll do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. American Descendants of Slavery, 13-week practical program of action for each American descendant of slavery. Step 1, learn about the estate or estates your family originated from. Step 2, who established that estate. Step 3, what nation and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European. Step 4, ask all nonprofit organizations you attend, what's your position on reparations? Step 5, they either support it or they don't. No support, no money. However, if they support it, then immediately children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, and 3, and field trips to ADOS landmarks in that city, county, and state. Step 6, don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Step 7, avoid spending money with any small business that doesn't hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, etc. Step 8, all businesses need operating cash. Spend money with American Black businesses. Step 9, all other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. Step 10, the US government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money, i.e. quantitative easing. It also burns money, i.e. quantitative tightening. The US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off the full faith of its citizens to pay debt and taxes. American descendants of slavery no longer have faith in the US government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. 11, teach your kids 1 hour a day about their history on this land. Have them learn about our American inventor. Have them know about our heroes. They should know the European that conquered the estate you live in. They should know the nation of people prior to European invasion, militarily and culturally. 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we're claiming, America, and attaches us to the history and laws of the US government. Every estate American descendants of slavery live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspaper. This in 13 weeks, 1 fiscal quarter will bring us together for our common cause.
Perfect. And I think Chief Black Coat, you're going to do the quote.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so this one jumped up at me. Where was I at? All right, it is well understood that by teaching of the history of the European man could be further assured of his superiority, the Negro could be made to feel that he had always been a failure and that the subjection of his will to some other race is necessary. The freedman then would still be a slave. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man shall think, you don't have to concern yourself about what he will do. And that kind of goes into today how we always talk about sit down. We have to sit down. We have to show the Europeans you're not just gonna keep having us play this merry-go-round game. We're not. We have to show him. One, we have to get rid of this whole white supremacy thing. How can you be supreme when you came onto land and rep the benefits of everything we did? There's nothing supreme about that. Your mind didn't create anything. You just had the advantage with numbers of bodies and machinery. So there's nothing supreme about that. That just shows you had resources. So we got to get rid of that. And then we got to show we're free men. But we'll never be free men if we continue to play their game. We got to free ourselves from their shackles. we are under their shackles and we have to free ourselves. We were free men. In that quote, it said we were free men. We have to get back to that. We're not free no more when we continue to play this game. We just can. We're it feels free, but your mind is shackled. So we have to get up. We have to get from up under that. We have to understand. Hold on, this is all a facade. This is all a lie. And that's when you'll really become free. And of course, we got to do the work day by day, week after week, like we do. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, we have to free ourselves. We got to free our minds. There's no white supremacy. That's not a thing. But if we keep telling ourselves that, you'll always think, oh, well, the white man is okay because he's supreme. Nah, you're supreme. You did all this. They just so happen to come with bodies and numbers and guns. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's a great point, though, when it comes to those, that what you were saying earlier about just being okay with our oppression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you with our oppression, if you're always saying that there's somebody above you, ain't nothing supreme like
okay with your oppression. You hit it on the nail.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a great point. Great build on that. Chief Alligator, you had the Inventor for this week.
Correct. You want to take the note on this, Chief Biko? Because we got our Chief Quiet Water will be back next week.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So I'll go slow. So the inventor today is going to be Granville T Woods, aka Black Edison, was also his nickname. For those that are familiar with Thomas Edison, Granville T Woods was known as the Black Edison.
Nice.
He was born to free Americans. April 23rd, 1856 was his birth date, and he was born in Columbus, Ohio. He died January 30th, 1910 in New York, New York, which would be around the time of the Harlem Renaissance, right? So he was in the heart of that. And so let me jump back. Mr. Granville T Woods, aka Black Edison, he invented the electric railway system. Wrap your mind around that. The electric railway system. You couldn't ride an electric rail. You can't ride an electric train through North America without the Black Edison, Granville T.
Ain't no martyr, none of the subway system.
None of that.
So New York, of course, yeah. So he ended up in New York. He died in New York. So of course, the subway system in New York, you got to pay homage to an American. But let me give him the.
Do believe they have the most complex subway system. Just thinking off the top, but go ahead, my bad, Chief Alligator.
He designed it.
Yeah.
There would be no electric train without Granville T. Woods. So the patent number for the electric railway system is patent number 718183. And he invented the electric railway system January 13th, 1903. So prior to that, everybody was using coal. This grid that everybody talks about, you're on the grid. Yeah, Granville T. Woods, American. Yeah, put you on the grid with the train. I'll be doing next week's inventor as well, which will also be Granville T. Woods, because Woods has claims to nearly 60 patents, many of which were assigned to major manufacturers of electrical equipment that are a part of today's life. So when you think about General Electric and a lot of these companies, who's the underground, who's at the ground floor, who's the Lord God that created that, is Granville T. Woods. So I'm gonna be doing him. I'll be doing another one on him. That, yeah, he got 60 of them. So
his family.
I didn't hear you, Chief Biko.
Now I'm about to say that's a whole year worth of inventions.
Right.
We got 52 years.
Great, right. So I'll do next week, but yeah, we could just do him for a whole year.
Literally.
Great observation.
And that's a lot of inventions, and they sound like, or a lot of patents, and they sound like they're huge for whatever industry it's in. The family. is his family rich, or are they sitting on,
No.
land? And,
Yeah, great question. The percentage of income, as it states,
right.
in what I just read, the major manufacturers, the European manufacturers, have taken claim of his patent. So to answer your question, we don't get a percentage of income from it. So when you look at the Asians with their high-speed railway system and it's electric, we're supposed to be getting a percentage of all of that because we invented it. So that's why knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. That's Napoleon Hill. Applied knowledge is power. What we're doing every Sunday is applying knowledge. We're getting the information and then we're trying to live it out throughout the week. And we try not to relapse. We try not to spend money with Arabs. We try not to celebrate European holidays. That's what we're doing. We're trying to honor our ancestors.
That's all. Get this shit back exactly how it was before the occupation.
Correct.
Everybody talking about the future and Wakanda. Yeah, this would have been all that if we didn't get interrupted.
Conquerors or whatever they call them folks. Yeah.
They didn't conquer us. Just to tap into what you and Chief Biko said, when you use the word WS, I don't like using that word, but you know what I mean when I use the acronym WS. They're not supreme, but what they did was they ate our spirit. Like, it's one thing to lose a fight, right? But imagine losing a fight and then he licks your blood. So that's what the European did to us. They beat us in war, and then they turned around and became us. They ate us. They became the Americans. So it's like they ate our souls.
Yeah.
Y'all with me?
Yeah. They occupied our shit. They not only occupied our land, they occupied us.
Right. It's like they crawled inside of, it's like they opened us up and got inside of us. Like this is on some other level.
Fact.
Yeah.
We literally have Europeans walking around just saying, I'm American. And it's like, this land don't produce that.
They ate us. And how they know they ate us is when they ask you what your belief system is. As soon as you tell them Christianity, they know, you're devoured. No, I'm being real. When you tell them you support Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're letting them know you've been eating. They've ate your soul.
Yep.
You don't honor anything about your people. You're honoring their people. Yeah, your soul is gone.
Great point. No, that's a great point. Because they got an identity crisis, man, and we allow it.
They don't want to go back to peasant status. I don't want to be the slave. You the slave. Nah, you the slave. We got to stand on that.
Facts.
And just look at the Arab. Look at the Arab. Look at the Arab that runs the gas stations. He's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He could care less about European holidays.
Right.
His soul hasn't been devoured. Our souls have been devoured because we will fight you. Your family will fight you about not celebrating European holidays. That means that they've been demoned out. They're possessed. I hate to say it like that, but you've been demoned out. Yeah. You'll argue with me why you need to celebrate Christmas. And it's like,
like, really? You trying to argue me down because I don't want to celebrate this white holiday, this European holiday.
Spirit cooking. Every time we do it, we're spirit cooking ourselves. Every time we celebrate something that their ancestors created, your spirit, it's like you're putting a curse on yourself. You can never.
Exactly. And it's wars on different levels. And like you say, that's a war in itself. You're fighting in this physical, but shit, you can't win because you still praising in the spiritual. You see what I'm saying? So it's different levels of that, and that's a great point there, Chief Alligator. I did want to know when he passed the invention for that patent, that was 1873, you said? January 13th?
No, the patent date is January 13th, 1903.
1903, okay.
Yep. And you got the patent number 718183.
Yes, 718183. Got it. Perfect. Let me go ahead and knock out these maroon historical points and legal definitions, and we'll go ahead and build a little bit afterwards. Legal definition number 1, American is an indigenous to America. 2, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor either linearly or collaterally. 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. 4, prisoner of war, POW, person, usually a soldier who is captured by or surrenders to an enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. And number 6, education, an enlightening experience. Now the 5 historical maroon points. 1, was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Number 3, Maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. And number 5, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defenses, and plans. And prior to that, we definitely want to always cap off our readings, just re-emphasizing that this government is broke, y'all, while we continue to play this game. We go to section 10 of the Constitution. States, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, remit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So again, as we were saying,
you want to share that so they can see it?
Oh yeah, let me go ahead and share that. Make sure y'all understand that we aren't just coming up with this type of stuff off top of our heads here. Okay, boom, section 10. Let me see if I zoom in real quick. Okay, so right here, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So this current fiat that we have, this paper money, this paper that we always chasing, that we say we need, can't survive about, it's not even actual money according to the Constitution. It's not, it's fiat. We know the government dollar has been backed by gold since 1971. So there is no money backing this fiat currency. So why are we playing this game of Monopoly, which we always continue to reiterate, which we was discussing earlier?
Can you highlight that first sentence in section 10?
Right here.
Yep, and go to that first semicolon. Boom. Now that we're at the beginning of the Civil War, this first sentence is gonna make sense. This is the Union or the United States government telling the individual nations or states, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. So what the United States government is saying is there will no longer be confederacies on this land. It's gonna all be under the United States government. I just want to bring that to our attention because we're going into the Civil War now. And so coming out of that Civil War, that's part of section 10 as well. The United States government is saying, we want to wipe that memory off this land that there was confederations.
Great point. Great point. That was a good call out there, Chief Alligator. Because yeah, and that'll make us, kind of discuss what we need to do moving forward as well. But no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. Wow. And then lastly here, we want to jump down to, I believe, Article 6 here. Yes. The treaty is the highest law of the land, people. And it says right here in this Constitution. All right. The Constitution, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So again, the treaty is the highest law of the land. As we saw in that last treaty we read, Treaty of Fort Gibson, that was actually signed off and ratified through Congress. So that would be considered a legit treaty, which should be honored to the day, according to this Constitution, since it is the supreme law of the land. So those are just two things I'm highlight there. Go ahead.
Can you go to Article 2, Section 2 real quick? We had just added that last week about the militia. Just to remind people about the militia. Article 2, Section 2.
Go click here. No.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Well, just looking up this thing right here, people. When we see this Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and he actually walks, because I'm putting my money that he'll walk. You'll understand why, because of this. The president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. So several states have a militia. Again, when he contacted the governor, he said, hey, either you get it under control or I will. The governor didn't get under control. President made that call, sent the militia. So we have to understand that shit, according to the Constitution, what fault was Kyle Rittenhouse underneath? The Constitution states that what he did was lawful. Go ahead and let you build off of that, Chief Alligator, since you definitely highlighted that though.
I mean, you beating it like a drum. And so when President Trump called him a hero, everybody, oh, he's racist. No, he was actually in alignment with constitutional procedure.
I'm tired of that racism word.
Because he knows that he activated a militia, because the only person that can activate the militia in several states is the president. So when we hear Trump call him a hero, you got to understand, he understands that he controls the militia. Now, as far as Kyle Rittenhouse is concerned, it's not Kyle Rittenhouse that's on trial. It's the militia that's on trial. That's why he's going to walk. They can't penalize their militia. Come on, y'all.
Okay. You'll be going against this. When called into actual service of the United States, he was called into service, people. He and whatever his militia group was, they were called into service.
It's right here in the Constitution.
It's right here in the Constitution.
The Constitution. For everybody that's watching, we're reading the Constitution. This whole little thing that everybody loves to claim or whatever, the Constitution. Yeah, look at this. We highlighting it for you.
And so Kyle Rittenhouse is really, again, everybody's getting caught up in the theater of the actual courtroom procedure.
Right.
Once you understand that militia can't come out unless the president calls them out, then you understand, yeah.
Look,
it goes back to January 6th. And I probably need to start saying this in the beginning of every meeting. There is no law after January 6th. You cannot break the highest laws on the land and not be. Matter of fact, we probably need to look it up next week. We need to look up in the Constitution what's the penalty for treason. Because everybody that attacked that Capitol, these people are getting 6 months, 3 months. And so what that should tell you is there is no law. How do you get 6 months for treason, but then you telling people they're going to get 30 years for a PPP loan fraud? Give me a break. Come on, y'all. Right. There is no law.
Look at this here. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasions.
Now, where are you at in the Constitution with that language?
Where you at? That fine, Chibico.
Yeah, where you at? He went to digging. I like that.
Yeah.
Section 8 of what article?
Article 2.
Okay. And what's it saying?
Let me see.
I like that. He went digging. I like that.
The militia, let's read that one more time. Section 2. Section 2, Article 3, I think.
Because it's so weird this way. I'm gonna back out real quick.
There it is at the bottom. Oh, you had it. Okay.
My bad.
Boom. There you go.
So this is Section 8.
Section 8. I apologize.
Section 8. My bad. Article 1. Article 1.
Okay.
So he was stating there was some insurrection going on. Wasn't that what Trump was stating at that time? Insurrection within the government. So he was calling forth the militia to execute and suppress that. So it's like, damn. So was that January 6th lawful underneath the Constitution?
Whoa. Let's get a better context. I see where you're going. We got to read the whole body. Okay, so let's go a paragraph before so we can get the context right. I see where you're going. I like the thinking. Come on with it. Where we going? Where we gonna start at?
You said a paragraph before it?
Just to kind of get an idea
of the context.
Got you. So this here, Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes. Oh no, these are just the
powers of Congress.
Powers of the Congress, correct?
Right. And you, that's a different topic. But it says in there, Congress has the power to coin money. So that's the question is, why the fuck is there a Federal Reserve then? See that? That's Congress' job. So this thing has already been compromised. But go ahead, Chief Biko. I don't want to stop your train of thought.
No, that's great. No, that's a great point too. We'll get into that, but as we can see here, we just saw who has the power to call upon the militia, which is the president.
Right.
So when they're doing so, that he's doing so also to provide the call for the militia to execute and suppress any insurrection and repel invasions. So when they were stating, it was a rigged election, again in the theater.
See where you going?
Huh?
I see. No, go ahead. I see where you're going.
Again, the theater, but as you see, based off of what is in the Constitution, he didn't have anything, as far as what I'm reading here, did nothing wrong. Calling upon the militia and making sure, to get those people who was causing the insurrections out of Congress or out of that Capitol building.
Good find, bro. So, okay. Now, see, I love it when my mind gets tickled. So what you're really saying is, let's just keep it 100. Biden is not the most popular president. All right. Let's just be real. All of us, we all voted for Obama at least the first go round.
Right.
We know what them voting stations looked like when Obama was running the first time. Biden didn't get that. So the idea that he's supposed to got more support than Obama is a bold-faced lie. And so you got Europeans, they're saying, ain't no way in hell prisoners of war voted for you more than they voted for Obama. And so they feel like the election was rigged. Trump has the power as the president to call upon the militia to stop the transfer of power, and that's what he did. You absolutely right. Right. He called the militia to stop the transfer of power because the shit was rigged, and we know it. Ain't no way in hell we went out there and voted for the man that wrote the 94 crime bill.
Correct.
You ain't black, or you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
And that did nothing for us as the vice president for 8 years.
Right.
You think we don't want you again? Right out of here, nigga.
Forgot that was Obama right here.
He ain't get shit. Obama. And you was his right-hand man for them 8 years. You think we gonna get some shit from you? No.
And I guess so that's what that whole if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That was I forgot he was the motherfucking vice president. My God. Come on.
Great find. And you know what?
Great find.
I'm in agreement with you.
You know what I'm saying?
If the president felt like it was a rigged election, he got the right to call the militia and stop the transfer of power. That's what he did.
Yeah.
That's
what it's constitutional. That shit crazy, and it's constitutional for him to do that.
So now it gets tricky. Wait a minute. So then it gets tricky. So, damn, that's a good one because now you got to do an investigation to get to the bottom. Okay. All roads lead back to Trump.
Right.
But what you have are loyal people to their movement or their agenda or their goal, and they're not going to let you get to Trump, i.e. the Congress people who won't take the stand and testify this, that, and the third, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing. And now they're kind of like deboing the black politicians because they're like, okay, we're not going to really investigate this. We're going to move on to something else. So they're also showing the world there is no law under the United States.
Correct.
See, the downside is they don't want to stand on what they really believe. Just like we're doing this every Sunday, we standing on it.
Yep.
By you not standing on it, European, understand this. You're caught in a catch-22 now, because you can't talk about law and order and you won't even stand on your own documents that your ancestors
won't
read.
even uphold it.
For you not to do an investigation just shows there is no law.
Correct.
There is no law.
Because again, we're reading exactly what he did, and like you're stating, they won't even investigate it, and that's what we go back to again. They changed the rules to suit them. It wouldn't be in their best interest to do an investigation, because again, what does that do? Then okay, it even shines an even greater light. Oh shit, he did have all this. For example, the Cal Rittenhouse shit. Like they'll change the rules to make sure the better outcome for them, occurs. And that's pretty much that example you just gave. There is no law. Right. So why are we even playing with this shit? Because they won't even uphold their constitution.
And aren't they fresh off of ass whooping with Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they less than 2 months removed from an ass whooping. So again, prisoners of war, why are you calling them supreme? They fresh off of ass whooping. Let me say that again. You keep calling them supreme, but they just got the ass whooped. Y'all help me out with that.
Shit.
No. Yeah, I agree.
You right.
The world just saw them take a loss. They didn't do a treaty. That the formal way to get out of a war is a treaty. They ran.
They got the hell out, and it looked just like what? Vietnam.
And that's no shade to the veterans that was over there. But I'm just saying, when you look at it, they're not as bad as you claim they are, because they just got their ass whooped.
Correct.
Yeah, they just had them people hanging off planes trying to get the hell out of Afghanistan.
That shit was real. Like, we gotta understand that was real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they knew what time the cameras off. That's how simple-minded people are here. All they did was just stop video. It's still people getting killed in Afghanistan right now. Everybody that sold out, everybody that was working with the military, their heads are getting chopped off right now.
Door to door. This is not a game. and we ain't gonna go into that bag.
So yeah, it's great find on this, Chief Biko, because now what you did is now we can pan. Now we see heads. We know the president controls the militia. We see tails. We know that if he feels like the election is rigged or there's an insurrection, he has the right to call the militia in, which is exactly what they did on January 6th.
That's why nobody got charged. It doesn't.
And that's why you had lawyers and police officers, all these different European occupations showed up. But here again, if there's order to this government, then there has to be an investigation to get down to the bottom of it, to educate the people on what's going on. The idea that you're just going to brush it to the side, what you're telling people like myself, Chief Biko and Chief Blackcoat, what you're telling us is there is no law.
Correct.
Yeah. You can't commit the highest crimes under the government and just say, oh, we'll move on. No. Because then you're going to want to give me a speeding ticket, right? But you
exactly.
Capital, get the fuck out of my face.
And that's the point, people. This government is on its last legs. Why the fuck we even playing the game? That if that doesn't get, any notification or raise any eyebrows, if that can get swept under the rug, why the fuck you gonna bill me a ticket, a notice about some speed and shit, a traffic light? Fuck out of here, nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm still trying to figure out why we even paying taxes at all under this government.
Exactly.
We should just be the ones reaping something. Just don't even worry about this government. You took all in, okay, you got it. But then let's just, suffer peacefully for real. No, nigga, pay tax, get a speeding ticket, do this, go to jail, enslavement. Like, this shit is done, bro. We gotta stop playing.
On the tax part, I don't know if we're gonna we'll probably get it, just depending on how long we stay consistent with this. Just a note on the taxes. Number one, they did not apply to our group of people because you weren't citizens till 1965. Taxes didn't come about until the World War II. And they were supposed to be temporary. You see what I'm saying? the income tax was a temporary thing, but they made it a permanent thing. It was supposed to be temporary when the European was fighting in the World War, but even that has nothing to do with us because that was our grandparents. Our grandparents weren't citizens of the United States government. So we're gonna, as we get through this Civil War, we're gonna understand where we are in this on this chessboard.
Thanks.
So we'll close it out. This was a good bill, and we knocked it out the park on this one.